James Arness was the show's 20-year pillar by embodying Marshal Matt Dillon's authority and calm demeanor. There was one co-star he didn't particularly enjoy sharing the screen with, even though his professionalism and kindness made him popular with the cast and crew. As differences in working methods and interpersonal relationships became clear, tensions rose on the set. Casting members wanted this cast member to be removed. Gunsmoke, Hollywood's longest-running Western, had its share of Backstage. Stay tuned as we learn more about this sudden split and how it affected the long-term success of one of TV's most famous shows, Gunsmoke. The show ran from 1955 to 1975, which is an amazing 20 years. Westerns were popular on TV in the 1960s, but their popularity dropped in the 1960s and 1970s. Despite this, Gunsmoke remained the most famous and loved Western series, making it the gold standard. Its compelling story, complex characters, and realistic portrayal of the Old West captivated viewers. It changed and thrived, becoming a cultural icon. Families gathered every week to watch Marshal Matt Dillon handle justice, ensuring that the show will always be a must-see and an important part of television history. Gunsmoke started out as a radio drama, and its format changed several times when it moved to TV to meet the needs of viewers who had different tastes. It started out as a 30-minute black-and-white show, and as it became more popular, it was expanded to an hour-long format. Eventually, the show went full color. Every change made the show look better, and every attempt to stay interesting and relevant was made on purpose. Gunsmoke became an important part of television history and one of the longest-running scripted dramas of all time by showing how flexible and creative it could be. For example, Doc, played by Melbourne Stone, was a character without a first name for 16 seasons, but the writers trusted Stone to give him one. Stone chose the name Galen because he thought it best reflected the character's compassion and wisdom. Inspired by the Greek physician Galen, a pioneer in medical science, Stone chose Galen as the name for the character. Gunsmoke started as a radio show from 1952 to 1961 before becoming a hit on TV. The radio version was praised for its realistic portrayal of the Wild West and gritty storytelling. Producers were brave enough to keep the radio version going for an extra 6 years when the show moved to TV. In 1955, because Gunsmoke was in both radio and TV, it became known as an entertainment pioneer. The radio show served as a basis for the TV series, which gave viewers the continuity and realism they loved. John Wayne said no at first. Hollywood star John Wayne was being considered for the part of Dodge City's serious Marshal Matt Dillon Wayne, but he turned it down because of the demanding schedule of a TV production. Wayne still supported the show even though he wasn't in it. He took the job and even filmed a promo for the pilot episode, which gave Gunsmoke its big break. Although his support undoubtedly helped the role's popularity, James eventually took over and made it his own, leaving a legacy that matched even John Wayne's legendary status. James Arness's war service. Before he became an actor, Arness was in the U.S. military and served with the 3rd Infantry Division during World War II and the Allied invasion of Anzio, Italy. He was drafted in 1943, and 10 days into the campaign, German machine gun fire seriously hurt Arness. He was wounded in battle and lost part of his foot. He was awarded the Bronze Star and the Purple Heart and was honorably discharged. Arness's determination and calm personality were shaped by these experiences, which he later brought to his role as Matt Dillon on Gunsmoke. James Arness's war injuries interrupted filming throughout his acting career. Special accommodations were made on the Gunsmoke set to ease his physical strain before scenes that required a lot of walking or physical activity became too painful for him. The activity was filmed early in the morning, and Arness's performance as Matt Dillon was flawless because the production team came up with creative ways to work around his schedule. In addition to showing his dedication to the role, Arness's determination to endure his pain matched the character's tenacity and struggles with arthritis. As Gunsmoke's 20-season run went on, the effects of his wartime injuries started to show. His severe arthritis and advanced age made it hard for him to put up with long shooting days. The production crew planned Arness's to work around his illness and give him time to rest and recover between takes. He still maintained a strong on-screen presence, which showed how skilled he was and how dedicated he was to the project. For radio, William Conrad provided the voice of Matt Dillon, and his rich voice brought the character to life. However, when Gunsmoke moved to TV, the producers thought that James Arness's big build and rugged good looks were a better fit for the role of the frontier marshal. Persona Matt Dillon became one of the most recognizable characters in TV history thanks to Arness's classic performance, so the choice paid off. Conrad, on the other hand, showed how versatile he was by having a successful career in both film and television. Gary Bye's role in Gunsmoke during the show's penultimate season. Gary Bye made a notable appearance on Gunsmoke. Busey played Harv Daly in the third-to-last episode. Dye was the last character to be killed on Gunsmoke, and his tragic death made history and added to Bye's growing resume. He was a guest star on one of the most famous TV shows in history, and his role as Bailey was a memorable ending to the show's long history of intense drama and moving stories from Madam to Miss. The character of Miss Kitty Mitchell was made more complicated by the fact that her beginnings as a professional madam on the Gunsmoke radio show were a public secret. However, during its prime, television had stricter content regulations, and network officials knew how important it was to keep Gunsmoke family-friendly to keep its wide appeal. Her career was downplayed on TV, and her past was barely touched upon. Kitty became popular as she became a respectable businesswoman who ran the Long Branch Saloon. The audience found her more relatable because of this change, which ensured that the show would appeal to viewers of all ages without any problems. Politics changed Gunsmoke's opening, which showed Matt Dillon, and this powerful image set the tone for the show and showed how dangerous it was to live in Dodge City. As the 1970s came around, Americans' views on media violence started to shift drastically. As a result, TV networks were forced to tone down content like anti-violence campaigns. As a result, Gunsmoke made changes by replacing the famous gunfight with a less intense opening sequence. This choice kept the core of the performance while reflecting changing cultural norms. Gunsmoke showed its ability to adapt to societal changes by changing with the times and maintaining its status as a beloved opening scene joke, and one of the most recognizable scenes in TV. History is shown in the opening credits of Gunsmoke, where Dillon fights an unknown shooter. However, astute viewers may notice a similarity to the scene from Gary Cooper's famous Western High Noon. This fight takes place on the same street, Dusty Street. James Arness, who played Dillon, added humor to the filming process by letting the shooter win on one take, creating a unique and funny situation that made everyone laugh. In contrast to his serious on-screen performance, this lighthearted exchange showed that Gilligan's Island and Arness's friendly personality saved Gunsmoke, making room for new shows. In 1967, after dominating primetime TV for more than 10 years, CBS had to make the hard decision to cancel one of its popular shows. Gunsmoke was originally scheduled to be canceled. Fans of the show were furious and sent letters in protest to CBS. Some CBS executives even wanted to keep the Western going because they had a personal stake in its success. In the end, the network chose to end Gilligan's Island in favor of Gunsmoke. After that, the show was moved to Monday nights, where it did very well. This choice showed not only Gunsmoke's cultural impact, but also how its dedicated fans could change television history. Gunsmoke holds a major record with an amazing 635 episodes spread across 20 seasons. For decades, it held the record for most episodes of any primetime scripted series. But in 2018, the cartoon powerhouse The Simpsons beat it. The Simpsons make fun of modern American life, while Gunsmoke shows the rough and tumble side of it. The Simpsons has aired more than 700 episodes in more than 30 seasons, as of right now. Even so, Gunsmoke's achievements are still huge. Its determination in the face of fierce competition and a lack of TV programming cemented its place as a pioneer and timeless primetime television legend. The co-star James Arness couldn't stand Amanda Blake, who played Dylan's girlfriend. Although James Arness was known for being a professional and laid-back co-star, reports say he had a big problem with Amanda Blake, who played Dylan's girlfriend. Even though Blake and Arness were fan favorites, they didn't get along on set, and Arness even told her privately that he would rather she leave their troubled relationship. It's still an interesting part of the history of one of the most famous westerns on TV, even though Blake was a major character for 19 seasons before leaving on her own. There wouldn't be a grand finale to say goodbye to the beloved show when Gunsmoke ended in 1975. The creators didn't know that it would be the last one, so they ended the plot as they had for each previous season, leaving it open-ended. Unlike modern TV shows that carefully craft emotional goodbyes, Gunsmoke ended with a normal episode, leaving many viewers wanting closure for a show that had been a mainstay of American television for 20 years. However, its legacy is undefiled because its essence has been preserved by countless. Arness and Stone were in almost every episode of Gunsmoke during its illustrious run. James Arness played the unwavering Marshal Matt Dillon in every episode, and Milbourne Stone, who played the wise and funny Doc Adams, almost matched this feat. Stone missed only 6 episodes in 1971 because of a heart attack, and when he returned to the show after a short break, he showed amazing dedication and tenacity to his work. Together, Arness and Stone embodied the show's essence and came to represent it. Long-term success as fans formed strong bonds with their characters as they experienced the ups and downs of Dodge City life. James Arness had terrible arthritis. The effects of his battle injuries became more apparent as Gunsmoke approached. For the last 10 years, long filming days were almost impossible for him because of his terrible arthritis and previous wounds. The production crew made sure that Arness's parts in each episode were filmed every day to accommodate his condition. This gave him the time he needed to rest and recover to keep giving his fans the powerful performances they loved. Arness's reputation as one of TV's most durable and adored actors was cemented when he refused to let his physical limitations affect his performance as Matt Dillon. Gunsmoke ended Glenn Strange's film career. Strange was best known for playing Sam, the loyal bartender at the Long Branch Saloon. Strange's performance won him fans. During his long and successful Hollywood career, Strange played Frankenstein's monster in several movies. His last work before his death in 1973 was Gunsmoke's first season. He made a lot of important contributions to the show and the entertainment business, and fans remember him as a talented character actor. The original Miss Kitty wasn't Amanda Blake. Even though Blake's role as Miss Kitty Russell became famous, the filmmakers didn't initially consider her for the part. Instead, actress Polly Bond, who came from a family in show business and had already made a name for herself in westerns, turned down the chance to focus on Gunsmoke. Blake took over Kitty's role and made her one of the most beloved TV characters. Sometimes fate has a better plan, and Kitty's charisma and depth gave Gunsmoke a unique vitality. The cast didn't know the show was canceled. Viewers and cast alike were shocked when Gunsmoke ended abruptly in 1975, unlike today's well-planned finale. Instead of hearing directly from the producers, cast members other than James Arness learned about the cancellation through news reports, then admitted that he only knew about the story because it had been written about in trade journals. The cast and crew were caught off guard by the lack of communication, which led to a sad ending for one of the most beloved westerns on TV. Many actors tried out for the part of Matt Dillon, the stern police officer in Dodge City. Before choosing James Arness, producers tried out actors like Denver Pyle and Raymond Bird. Quote, while none of them were perfect for the part, each one brought a different perspective to it. His tough exterior and intimidating presence made him the perfect choice for the part, cementing his status as a timeless representation of the golden age of television. Even though the casting process was problematic, Arness played Matt Dillon perfectly, shaping the character for over 20 years. The show was #1 for 4 years. Gunsmoke was the most popular TV show in America from 1957 to 1961, with millions of viewers tuning in every week. However, ratings dropped after a major format change from a half-hour to an hour. Even though it went from being a half-hour show to a full-hour show, Gunsmoke became popular again in the late 1960s and early 1970s, showing that it was determined and able to keep viewers' attention even when it was losing early on. It had 5 movies: Gunsmoke: Return to Dodge, Gunsmoke: The Last Apache, Gunsmoke to the Last Man, Gunsmoke: The Long Ride, and Gunsmoke: One Man's Justice are the 5 made-for-TV movies that had the cast reunited between 1987 and 1994. In all 5 movies, James Arness played the famous character Matt Dillon again. Even though these efforts weren't criticized, they let fans relive Dodge City and gave a nostalgic continuation of the series' history. Get the hell out of Dodge is a phrase that was immortalized by Gunsmoke, referring to the setting of the show in Dodge City, Kansas. The line became a trademark catchphrase for Matt Dillon's bad guys being chased out of town. By the 1960s and 1970s, both adults and teens used it to mean hurry up and leave, showing the show's cultural impact and influence on American culture. Over the course of the show's 20-year run, there were 634 episodes, and in all of them, Matt Dillon was a fighter, not a lover. He only shared a kiss with a woman once, and it took a long time. Dillon and Michael Leonard, who played Mike Gardner, locked lips in the 3rd episode of the 19th season, which was appropriately called Matt's Love Story. Leonard played Gardner in a 2nd episode of that season, and 17 years later she brought her character back to life in the TV movie Gunsmoke: The Last Apache. Leonard poses with co-star Richard Thomas in 1973. Following her Emmy Award for her role as Olivia Walton on The Walton, the actress who played Chester, Dennis Weaver, told an interesting story about his character in the DVD commentary for Gunsmoke. The fact that Chester never carried a gun was a notable choice given the show's title. The production team wanted Chester to be a non-violent character in stark contrast to the show's usual violent tone. Weaver was told to give Chester a unique trait to set him apart from Matt Dillon, and he did so by making the creative choice to give Chester a limp, which gave the character more depth and made him easier to remember. Chester's physical quirk set him apart and became one of his defining traits, solidifying his place as one of the most charming characters in TV history. Dennis Weaver later said he regretted his decision, even though Chester's limp became recognizable in Gunsmoke. He admitted in the DVD commentary that it was much harder than he thought it would be to maintain a limp for 290 episodes, making his performance harder than he had planned. Although Chester's LMP made him stand out, it also made Weaver's filming experience very difficult, leaving him tired after long days on set. Weaver stayed committed to his part despite these problems, making sure Chester's LMP stayed throughout the series. Millions of fans loved the character because it was authentic and realistic, which were made better by Curtis's willingness and ability to change roles. Curtis, best known for his role as Focus Hagen, made an amazing 307 appearances over 16 years and became an important part of Gunsmoke. He showed how committed he was to the show by wanting to play different roles in previous seasons. For example, he played an Indian in one of the first half-hour shows, and a Texas cattleman who became friends with a tester before dying young. Because of his ability to adapt, he became a fan favorite and a classic Gunsmoke family member, solidifying his place in the show's history from Gunsmoke to Star Trek, since all 4 senior officers from the first Star Trek series appeared on Gunsmoke. Star Trek is interesting because Arness TCI, who played Dr. McCoy, showed up in Season 1, and William Shatner, who played Captain Kirk, made a cameo in a Season 12 episode. Leonard Nimoy, who is famous for playing Spock, made 4 appearances in Seasons 7, 8, and 11, and James Doohan, who played Scotty in Star Trek, showed up in 1 episode during Season 8. These appearances show how talented actors work together to create television's golden age, and Dennis Weaver's famous accent was a result of this. Producers weren't impressed with Dennis Weaver's first audition for Gunsmoke because it didn't go well. Weaver persuaded them to let him try out again because he was desperate for another chance. This time he took a bold creative risk by using a strong country accent, and it worked. We forgot about the part because the producers were so excited about Chester becoming one of the most loved characters on the show, because his accent made him seem more real. It's Weaver's brilliance and determination that turned. Many of the cast and crew of Gunsmoke thought the show still had years to go, so they were shocked when it was abruptly canceled after 20 seasons. With hopes of reaching the lofty milestone of 700 episodes, it was expected that Gunsmoke would continue for at least 3 more seasons. After the sudden cancellation, those who worked on the show felt like there was unfinished business. With 635 episodes and a legacy that few TV shows have been able to match, the series left a lasting impression. Despite its eventual demise, Arness's The Goofball was surprisingly funny off-camera, according to his stunt double Ben Bates. Arness's contagious laughter often added humor to the scene, and Bates joked that Arness's uncontrollable giggles sometimes stopped filming. This lighthearted side of Arness's gave viewers a glimpse into the joy and camaraderie that went on behind the scenes, and was very different from his serious on-screen personality. His charisma was boosted by his ability to balance humor with seriousness. Dillon's horse's name. If you're a big Gunsmoke fan, you've probably seen the whole series and many episodes more than once. However, there is one fact that has only been mentioned once in all 630-plus episodes. In one episode, Fessus, played by King Curtis, calls Dillon's horse by name. This is the only time the animal's name had been used in the whole show. What is Marshall Dillon's horse's name? Buck. John Wayne suggested James for the part. John Wayne encouraged his friend James Arness to accept the job in Gunsmoke. When the job was first offered to Arness, he was hesitant to take it because many people thought it would hurt his career. Wayne, however, persuaded him to adopt his viewpoint by the stream at video. One of the most popular and enduring TV shows in history is Gunsmoke. It can be classified as a Western drama series. After The Simpsons, it is the second longest running show, with seasons and episodes for classic Western dramas. Gunsmoke set the standard. Also, it gave actors who were already famous but wanted a role a chance to become known before they got the part. They became famous when the Dodge City Cowboys went on the airwaves before the popular British comic strip Gunsmoke. A TV show called Gun Law was created from the radio show, which started in 1952 and ran until it was canceled in 1961 after 400 episodes. The show had more realistic plots than the TV show, with actors in Hollywood getting involved in shootouts and crazy times at the Long Ranch Saloon. A lot of famous people went to see the show. Peter, Jan, Cindy, and Spock from the Brady Bunch and Star Trek made cameos and more family-friendly episodes. From 1962 to 1965, Burt Reynolds played the half-naked Quint Asper on a regular basis. He was the hardest-working cowboy in show business. In the end, John Wayne's old wartime colleague James Arness was cast as Matt Dillon. He has the best work ethic and the look of a real war hero. He was the most loyal cowboy on the show because he was the only actor who appeared in every episode. James Arness is a real-life hero who faced Wild West criminals as Matt Dillon. Marshal Matt Dillon James Arness was a famous TV actor who fought in real-life battles during World War II. He was shot in the lower leg and foot at the Battle of Annio in Italy in 1944 and was awarded the Bronze Star in Heart for his bravery in battle. When he got home, he was hailed as a war hero. Though his injuries made him hurt all the time, they also gave him arthritis, which limited the amount of time he could spend filming. If you've made it this far, that means you liked the video. If you want to join, don't forget to turn on the bell icon.